Today is May 13th, 2023. I'm doing an interview with Chih-Yuan Lu, the President of Macronics International for the Computer History Museum Oral History Program. Thank you, Chih-Yuan, for taking the time.
Yeah, you are most welcome.
So let's start off with just talking about your childhood, a little bit about where you grew up and your parents and so forth.
Okay, sure. I actually born in China, Canton City, okay, Guangzhou, okay. And then after that, very soon, my family moved to Hong Kong. So our family moved to Taiwan when I was 4 years old. So we moved to Taiwan. So I received my primary school education in Taipei City, okay. So it is pretty smooth for me in study. I study report are always good, okay. So I get to the best high school, and in the so-called United Entrance Examination, big examination. Everybody, high school students, need to participate to compete into a good university. At that time, maybe only 10-15% of student high school can get into university in that time, in 1968 to 70s. So I get to my first selection, National Taiwan University Physics Department. At that time, physics is the most fashion department in Taiwan, because the physics is good for easy to get a scholarship and go to United States for further graduate education. And another, at that time, the 2 Chinese guys get Nobel Prize physics. That's T.D. Lee and C.N. Yang. That's Lee and Yang as the first 2 Chinese professors in United States, although get physics Nobel Prize. So the physics become very fashion at that time. So I'm fortunate, and I get into the top universities, top department. And I think I received pretty good undergraduate education in physics. And later, after got my bachelor degree in National Taiwan University, I applied scholarship, and I get a full scale of a scholarship and go to Columbia University in New York City, physics department, to further study physics there. After 5 years, I get my master's degree, I got my Ph.D. degree, and that's 1977. I got them almost finished the first stage of my education, but all physics major.
So were you interested in that, or it was just the scholarship that attracted you?
Certainly I'm interested in that. Even today, I still a professor as the National Taiwan University Physics Department. I'm very interested in physics, okay, in physics. So after that, at that time, politics are pretty turbulent in Taiwan. Actually, if you're talking about the situation, is not easy compared with now time. Now time, people say Taiwan is the most dangerous place, right? That's today. But at that time, about same to Taiwanese people, because Taiwan being kicked out of United Nations, and the United States cut the diplomatic relationship with Taiwan, and they recognize China as the only China, okay, and say everything is turbulence. But when I see as a student, I see the opportunity of Taiwan at that time is huge, because everything is starting to take off. You know, after 70s and the industrialized, although there's no IC yet, but an assembly industry is moved to Taiwan. Okay, and there's a very, and the government want to establish high tech as the base of Taiwan's economy. So I view there's a lot of room for me to do what I like to do. So I choose, when I get my PhD degree, I just returned to Taiwan, National Chiao Tung University, as associate professor. Okay, at that time, you know, there is very few students study in United States, other foreign country, come back to Taiwan, because I told you the political situation and everything, and then the salary compared with what I got in United States is a huge gap. You can imagine. Give you an example. When I was the research assistant in Columbia University, I can get the monthly salary is $500 per month at that time. It's okay for one people living there in New York City. But when I returned to Taiwan as the National Chiao Tung University's professorship, I can only get something like $200. So my salary got cut into half. So almost nobody will return to Taiwan. But I thought in the other way. I think as a professor at high-tech research workers in Taiwan, the social status is very high. And actually, you can almost choose whatever topic you like to do, because the government have some grant want to give to the faculties and the good university to do something, but no qualified people. So when I come back, I can got the freedom to choose whatever I like to do. That is why I chose return to Taiwan.
Okay, so CY, you said that you went to Columbia University, so you had every intention of coming back to Taiwan. You didn't think that you might stay in the US?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I told you, and I think there are more room for me. If I stay in the United States, I can survive. I can get a postdoctor and then assistant professor, and just as the good track as a good student from top universities in the United States. I can find a job, but I need to work very hard in order to keep on the track, and the track is almost fixed for me. I have no energy and room for me to transfer field. For example, I'm physics. And when I come to Taiwan, I can look around. And actually, I'm starting to teach in Chiao Tung University. That is a major in electronics discipline. So I teach lasers, optics, and I also teach semiconductor devices and electrodynamics and all those kind of things. And by doing that, I'm starting to choose what is the area I want to focus more, and I can get more resources and I can contribute more to Taiwan. So I have a lot of room. I'm very happy, although my salary is very low. But I see the professor in Taiwan, the living standard is low. The living cost is very low. So you are not starved. you can raise your family pretty well. Okay? This is just like 20 years later in China. You go to China, the salary is very low, but you are a professor in Peking University or Tsinghua University, your status is high. You have resources you can control.
Sure. So how did you make the transition from like an academic career to industry?
Yeah,
What's
okay.
triggered that?
Let me tell you that. So I still teaching in university, right? But I can see a lot of, in addition to physics, pure physics, I can see a lot of in applied physics. I can see things can devote, although maybe I'm a beginner, I can devote into industry things, electronics, semiconductors at that time, lasers, okay? But I still in university, okay? I'm a professor, but at that time, okay, Taiwan was starting to try to do high tech. So a lot of a government position to searching for professors that go to the government to help. So I read some article to explain my opinion about what Taiwan should do and that Taiwan should do in education and whatever. And that article, those kind of article, being published in newspaper, Taiwan newspaper, and being read by K.T. Lee. At that time, he is the Shah in Taiwan's high-tech industry. So he called me to his office. He said, you have a good ideas, a lot of good ideas. Would you come to my office to work me as assistant, research assistant, try to tell we can form a lot of new ideas to help Taiwan's industry. So I did. I'm a professor. I have a part-time job into the K.T. Lee's office. Okay, so that is even make me more exciting. You know, what I'm teaching in the university, I can also influence the policy and see how the government is running at that time. At that time, Science Park just established, 1980s. So the first Science Park involvement, the government is, I also have an opportunity to participate. So very exciting. But doing this, I still in more like academic place to help the industry. Okay, so I think I have an interest to really get into the industry. I see a lot of proposal from outside of Taiwan and inside of Taiwan to K.T. Lee's office, say, we should do that, we do that. And K.T. Lee show these things to ask our opinion and comments. Okay, I read a lot and learn a lot. And I think I also interesting to do those things, but I have no experience in industry. So finally I decide, I quit Taiwan's job. I go to United States again in order to do some, to get some experience in real industry, at least in real high-tech manufacture in the worldwide top companies. So I quit Taiwan's job. I've been a visiting professor to North Carolina State University as a visiting professor. Okay, but actually, during the visiting professorship, I'm looking for a job. I can stay in United States and have the opportunity to achieve my vision. So fortunately, I get a job from AT&T Bell Laboratories. They offer me a job due to my previous study. Okay, they think it's valuable to them, and they have two choices for me. One is in their pure research site. Another is in their manufacture site to do the technology transfer. Okay, certainly to my purpose, I chose the later one I want to see how things being built, being researched, and then transferred to manufacture. At that time, 1980s, United States still on the top of the world, even for semiconductor manufacture. Although Japan just emerged out. In 80s, Japan and the United States the biggest competitor, but United States still very good. So I take the chance, I take the job into AT&T Bell Lab, Allentown, Pennsylvania. Okay, I work there, and I try to learn how things is moving in industry for more than 5 years.
So what particular manufacturing? IC manufacturing?
Yeah, IC manufacture. Yeah, IC manufacture. The most advanced IC manufacture in AT&T Bell Lab, in AT&T. The AT&T at that time still, and the world top IC producer, and also the best factory in AT&T system.
So you said you were there 5 years.
Yeah.
What were some of the?
I continue doing, but after 5 years, I got a phone call from Taiwan. One night, I got a phone call from Taiwan. The phone is come from Morris Chen. Morris Chen back to Taiwan at that time, 80s, 85, 87, okay. He's the president of ITRI. You know ITRI? Industrial Technology Research Institute. We met each other later on.
Yeah.
He called me to say, hey, CY, KT Lee recommend you. We have a big project want to launch. And we search for leaders for this project. That is a submicron project.
Right, okay. So before we get onto that, just at Bell Labs, I mean, I see in the bio here a couple of things you did. There was a paper that you wrote, variable hold retention time phenomenon in DRAM, said that it improved the reliability of DRAMs. I mean, at that time, you mentioned the Japanese, and the problem was
right.
American DRAMs were not good quality. So how did you see that?
So I participated.
Did you help?
I participated in the war against the Japanese. Okay, I'm one of the technical leader in AT&T is doing the AT&T's DRAM. Okay, at that time very interesting. My brother Nicky Lu, if you remember him. Okay, he is the leader in IBM. So I and Nicky. One worked for AT&T as the leader in DRAM. One is in IBM. We all fighting for Japanese. So although we are also competitor, because AT&T and IBM are competitor. At that time, they are the best one in United States. Okay, I get a phone call. I say, okay, I need to know more. He say, well, you come back for interview, okay? So I do come back for interview, and he told me what the project is doing, okay? What they intend to do, okay? So that we go back to the Taiwan situation. In late 1970s, Taiwan tried to get into IC industry, right? So how to get? The government say, we need to buy technology from United States or other place, Japan or German or so they starting to work out where to buy technology. So the end result, I think many people talking about that period of history, and the result, RCA being chosen and RCA willing to sell. So this is the most important milestone for Taiwan. Is RCA project, like those guys, Bob Cao and Qing Tai-shi. They are also the member of the first team. So once we get an RCA project and build the pilot line in Taiwan, in the organization under ITRI called ERSO, ERSO, Electronic Research and Service Organization. There's a particular is doing the IC. Okay, the leader is Dr. Hu, Dinghua Hu. Okay, he is also a professor of National Chiao Tung University. He is about 6 or 8 years elder than me. Okay, he came back to Taiwan earlier than me. Okay, and he became the leader to lead this RCA project. So RCA project is very successful for the first 5 years. So they think if we are not successful in a research institute, but they're still in a research in the pilot, we'll try if Taiwan can survive is real into commercial competition. So they formed the UMC, United Microelectronics Corporation, UMC. It's the first spin-off team from ITRI ERSO become a company. Okay, and most investor is from government fund. Okay, but less than 50%. Otherwise, it become a government company. So and collect some other money from the several resources.
So were you in the U.S. when this was?
Yeah, at that time I am in United States.
Right.
Okay.
But you were following the news.
Yeah, I followed that. Although I quit my National Chiao Tung University job, I quit the KT Lee's office assistant job, but I keep a close connection with them to understand what is developing there, and I know all these things. And another interesting thing, when I was teaching in National Chiao Tung University, I have many students, with undergraduate student, master student, even Ph.D. student work for me, right? They become the employee of these companies. so I have, in addition to the top levels connection, networking, I have a lot of these employees involvement that we have communication and chat and understand. So I pretty understand what's going on in Taiwan. So UMC is okay, it's survived and making money, okay. But it's low end, IC is a spectrum. Like today, the 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer like TSMC is doing, and you have a 200 nanometer, you still can making money and doing the IC. And at that time, UMC's technology level is in a very low end, okay. But they can do IC anyway. But then the technology is low, and if they can long-term survive, this is always an issue, okay. But business coming, the Taiwan become very energetic in the electronics. The electronics need IC, right? The IC, most of IC is consumer grade. So their business is good. But the government see this situation is still good enough, okay? And there are many companies come out, but they don't have that kind of capital, can build a fab. So they come to government to apply, say, for either the financing or whatever, try to build a fab. So this is this kind of environment cook out the idea of a TSMC.
So
yeah.
when Morris Chang called you about this project, did you agree straight away, or you?
I say I will interview to see what you are doing. Okay.
So this was a submicron project.
Yeah, submicron.
So did it seem like an impossible challenge to you?
Sure. That's because you see the target they set. Okay. As I see, UMC is successful. Many design company come out. The government come to the idea of a central kitchen idea. This is TSMC. They do foundry for you guys. You can have a product to sell. So TSMC being founded in 1987. I am still in AT&T at that time. So Morris found TSMC. He is have two hats. He's TSMC chairman. He is also the chairman of ITRI. When he called me, he is already the chairman of ITRI, promoted from president. He came to Taiwan as the president of ITRI, and he promoted as the chairman of ITRI. Okay, and he called me. He already chairman of ITRI. Even Taiwan have TSMC at that time. Their technology is still lack, pretty much. I think you'll remember when you visited Taiwan, even 90s, our technology is lack. So they think about what next stage should do. That's come out in the submicron project. They say we must have a better technology, independent, built by Taiwanese, not just buying from license from people. Okay, we need to do that. So this is the whole reason of submicron project, the target. And also I have a very interesting diagram to illustrate this. If take this, the yellow book. Okay. This is a diagram. You see all these curves. Any technology and the product, they have their lifetime. They're starting from there, and become up and down, right? This is the volume of a business. So your business become more and more, and they mature, and then and next generation is come, right? So one bear ship after another bear ship. Each bear ship is represent a technology. So here is the year. Taiwan always in this bear shape. In this bear shape, where is our cut-in point? In the past, the UMC, TSMC, the cut-in point is in the bear shape's later part. That means you cut in already in the technology is coming down. The peak is here. So the submicron project is say, we need to bring technology when we cut in later on. We need to cut in somewhere here. So today we already achieve even better. TSMC, they cut in here, right? They bring this curve, right? But at that time, our stage. So UMC's proof, if Taiwan's situation, a commercial situation, everything, the infrastructure, can make IC survive? Get a good answer. Yes, can survive. But there's a consumer grade. Okay. The second project is the TSMC project. The TSM project means to provide a common central kitchen for many companies can survive. Okay. There's the second one. But the technology is still in a pretty late stage. So the submicron project will bring this up to the. So this is, as you say, this is a big thing, okay, big thing to make a technology. So if I come back to take a leadership job, I need to finish this mission, okay? If I can do that, very exciting to me. I don't know I can. I have a confidence, but I don't know how big the percentage I can finish this.
So CY, so you've invited back to Taiwan by Morris Chung to head up the submicron project. What sort of resources did they give you, and did you think you had enough to succeed? Sure.
Okay. So I come back to Taiwan for an interview and to understand more about the project they intend to do, okay, the government intend to do. The government will grant this big grant to ITRI and ask ITRI to carry this project, okay? And Morris Chung is the chairman of ITRI. So certainly he need to build a team, okay, to complete this job. So I came back And at that time, the international environment is like this. Okay, that's very late 80s. The United States memory is totally crashed by Japanese. Okay, at that time, 80s, early 90s, Japan in semiconductor is a king. All right, at that time they become the king. Okay, but they also encourage us how Japan can do this. Okay, if Taiwan can do the same. Okay, we are very excited to see things happen. And although at that time I still in United States, right? So I see United States doing the Semitech, the project Semitech. You remember that? In order to come back, to fighting back, right? So and also a lot of things, more political things to against Japan. To ask Japan need to import more U.S. IC, whatever, those things. But very exciting at that time. Everybody, just like today, everybody was doing IC. Have a European mega project. Okay, the Japan making them successful due to one of the reasons they have a big project called the VLSI project. Okay, their government meeting is leading the project and ask those big companies, Japanese, to work together in the DRAM. Korea merged out. Okay, so Taiwan is under this kind of international environment. Okay, so at that time, talking about the resources, your question. How many resources I can have in order to achieve this? I think it's a reasonable resource, but compared with the absolute dollar amount, it is very small. We have those numbers at that time. Okay, compared to Japan's project, the European mega project, and Semitech, or whatever. These kind of consortium project, because this is a consortium project. Government in Italy to doing this, and core UMC, TSMC, you come to join, okay, as a member. So I become the consortium leader. Okay, I have my team. So totally they give me how many dollar amount? 7 billion NT dollar. 7 billion NT dollar for 5 years. Include all the capital construction, like the clean room, the fab, and buying all those machines, and all the expense. So finally, almost half of them, 60% of them, is spending on capital, building the building, the clean room, buying the lithography machine, etching machine, those things. 40% is expense, salary, material, and all this kind of thing. So this number is a big number to Taiwan. This is the largest ever project have been ever taken, even today, for a single project. Okay, $7 billion for 5 years to achieve this job. This kind of amount to give to me to resource to do that, just like in the very first RCA project. RCA project is about 0.4 billion NT dollar to buy the technology from RCA. But compare economic situation, the wealth of Taiwan, the government, that may be even more than what I got today in 1990. So I think the government have a big commitment. Okay, Morris Chang is a strong support of that. Okay, and the environment in Taiwan, people are very excited in general. Okay, my previous student, are all exciting. Say, if you come back, we will work for you. Come back. Okay, so I'm excited. I take the job. Okay.
So a project like that obviously relies on talent. So where did you find the engineers and the people?
Okay, then
Locally, or you have to bring them in?
no. Then let me tell you that the salary is still in a big gap. You know, I come from Bell Lab to Taiwan, Yichi, as a leader. I'm almost the top guy. So okay, my salary cut half again. Okay. Terrible. So almost you can only find few people willing to sacrifice the salary to join. Okay. So I need to use local people. Okay. So that's my advantage. I have been, as I told you, I have been professor. I have so many young people work for me and study from me, those guys. And they right now is mature, semi-mature, because I go to Bell Lab for 5 years. They are working here for 5 years. They are younger than me by almost 10, 15 years. So they are really a strong force for me, although they have no experience, no experience at all. Okay, so I am in the field, have experience to get into from Bell Lab and AT&T. So we formed the project. At that time is another thing interesting. You need talking about history. We need to talk about that. At that time, our technology, although Taiwan is lack by a gap, but the business is pretty booming. You know, the stock market is coming crazy at that time. So the people in Yichi being recruited by the science park like crazy. The turnover rate is more than 30 to 40%. So that means your people is come in and out, come in and out. So that's very tough to do project like me, right? Although there are some people come in and very soon being attracted by science park's commercial job, okay, engineering job. So that's talking about another thing. When I worked with K.T. Lee, almost 10 years ago, when U.S. break the diplomatic relationship and restrict the weapons sale to Taiwan because their relationship with communist China, right? And they almost stopped the upgrade Taiwan's military weapons. So Taiwan, another way is decide we need to build our own weapons. But who can do that? Okay, actually, United States help. United States cannot sell you the advanced weapons, but they may, on the other hand, teach you how to do that. You do yourself. Okay, but if you want to learn how to do weapons, you need good young people to learn, right? Go to the United States to learn. But in the military, there is no high-tech people, right? With no high-tech people. You will hire high-tech people is difficult for military. Okay. So at that time, I am in K.T. Lee's office. I propose we have a new system. If young people, master degree graduate, okay, join this team of military weapon build team, okay, they cannot go to as a soldier, fighting soldier, okay. You just go to government research, weapon research institute as a researcher.
Yeah, so conscription.
Yeah, and pretty much like Israel. Israel have those team, right? And then they do weapons. But this is political, very difficult, even in Taiwan. K.T. Lee promote this. They take my advice to promote this, okay? So say, if from National Chiao Tung University, Tsinghua University, or Taiwan University, Cheung Kong University, this top university, we ask you to join, okay? Because at that time, still, 80% to 90% of those top undergraduate students, where they go to United States for graduate school. So this project, I proposed to save about 10%, the people will go out. Stay here, join this program, okay? Give them, because you go to the fighting soldiers at Taiwan, that's an obligation, right? You almost have no pay, very, very small pay. But if you take this, you have a regular pay, just like ITRI's pay, okay?
So was the conscription for 1 year then?
6 years.
6 years?
6 years. From 2 years becomes 6 years. But this is 6 years you get a high pay, okay?
For the soldiers, if you had to be a soldier, the conscription, how many years was that?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. Soldier, fighting soldier. If you go to as a fighting soldier, training as a fighting soldier, you're 2 years. Okay. If you go to you take 6 years because you need to training. You just learn 2 years. You retired, and then there's no use, right? 6 years you give up. But people at that time criticized my proposal. Nobody will take this. Okay. But I think there is somebody that will take this, okay? I am not wish 100% people will be hot for this. Only 10%, 5% already big enough because there are about 10,000 of undergraduate each year go to United States. I take 10%, more than is about 1,000 people. It's good enough. You have no position to fill these guys, okay? So actually we get several hundred, okay, each year. They are very good, okay, because their talent is good and they receive solid undergraduate education. So these people are there. And when I come back to doing the submicron project, this program will be extended larger. If you are to high tech in research institute like ITRI, you can also take these kind of service people. So my team, maybe half of them are these kind of people. Very stable, good quality. So the people issue partially solved.
Right. So this idea was your secret weapon.
Yeah. So when if you have all the fighting soldiers, but if you have no weapon, what you can do? So the legislative yuan has passed this law.
Sure.
Okay.
So these people obviously didn't know anything about semiconductors. So there was a steep.
Yeah, not necessarily semiconductor. Okay, they're doing radar, they're doing a microwave device, they're doing semiconductor. There's this kind of related things. And at that time, commercial company cannot hire them. Only research institute. So ITRI can hire. Okay, the weapon research institute 我们 call 中山科学院. The 中山 Research Institute can hire them. It's doing jet fighters, tanks. Okay, those kind of things. So you ask key questions. How many money I can have? How many people, good people I can do? I think a good thing is in my first 10 years I involved in Taiwan, it's nothing to do with this. But since I built a lot of the background later on to support me. Okay, then that's all coming in. Okay, so in the 1990, we started the submicron project. The project is supposed in 1995 complete, and we should, over the peak, go to the early stage. Okay.
So you built the first 8-inch fab in Taiwan with this project.
Yeah.
So what were the challenges with that? Was that at the beginning or the end of the 5 years?
Okay, let me see. They have a 6-year obligation, right? After this 5-year project, they almost finish their obligation. So they become the most hot People on a career job market, people want them. There is another important thing is this, okay, for this submicron project. What technology we should do, right? You do this, you will do something real. You are not doing academic published papers, say you show some prototype. No, not good enough. The project is specifically say this is a immediately manufacture technology. We have to finish. There's no time for you to transfer and take 2 years to make it manufacture. It need to be done the project. Transfer to TSMC, UMC, immediately doable. Okay, manufacturable to high level of yield reliability. Okay. So at that time, okay, the project, I invent a lot of systems in order to achieve this. Okay. 2 important decisions. One important decision in 1990, the most popular and manufactured the technology is what? 6-inch wafer. Not 8-inch yet. This is the first 8-inch wafer we produced in Ichi. Okay. So for some micron project, we need to break through technology, bring the technology to the front end, right? Front line. This job is already very challenging. So people say, okay, maybe use 6-inch to realize this, because all the equipment, all the clean room things is pretty much mature at that time. Like for example, Intel is all 6-inch fabs. In AT&T, 6-inch fabs. Only IBM starting to first 8-inch. And the 8-inch is almost starting, okay? So there is a big debate. Should we just use a 6-inch, we can have a much better chance to make a technology successful. But I think a lot of things later on. I decided I go to Morris Chang. I say, no, we should do 8-inch, straightforward. Because when we complete a project, 8-inch manufacture already start. Okay, if I do 6-inch, you do again. Maybe easier, but at least take you another 1 or 2 years. Okay, not to fulfill what we set and the goal, right? So I say, I will take this 8-inch. Morris Chang say, if you take 8-inch, your risk is much higher. Okay, so I told him, I think that's worth it. Even we failed due to this 8-inch business, okay? But the failed experience may be more value than successful 6-inch, because the other people follow me will take all the advantage. We are making the country successful. It's not my project successful. So Morris said, good, okay. You have the determination and the commitment. Let's go to the government. Told them this is a major change, very major change. Go to the Minister of Economic Affairs. Even go to the Prime Minister to say we will change. We apply for change. Project not start yet, okay? We're fighting for change. But since the change, we need more money. More budget, right? Because, okay, there is a pretty successful briefing to minister and the prime minister. They grant us the money on spot, okay? We got the money, we changed to 8-inch. Another thing I want to do 8 inches. If I do 8-inch, my team member, those young men, very exciting. They become the front end, can try it. If they do 6-inch, just like a common job, more like a common job. Right now in Taiwan, they are the first one. I told them, follow me, work well. 5 years later, you are being the hardest man in the job market. Don't rush out, okay? Follow me, okay? 5 years later, when project success, you go whatever you like. I guarantee you will get the best offer on the market. So they're excited. So they work around the clock every day. So this boosts my morale of the people. And I believe at that time you came to Taiwan, you visit. Maybe you have the smell. You see our team's morale is very high at that time. Okay. Okay.
So eventually Vanguard was merged with TSMC. So
no, not merged. And because of this, so Vanguard faced a big decision: will continue or not, right? Okay. So Morris asked. At that time, I already president of Vanguard. Bob Evans was returned to United States. And he asked Rick Tsai, at that time the COO of TSMC, came to Vanguard to make a serious evaluation what should do. Okay, so Rick Tsai became president. I stepped down. Okay, that's why later on I created the Ardentech testing company, and I joined Micronics at that. Okay, so Rick Tsai doing about a year president. He gave the final proposal to Morris Chang. I think he told him, maybe quit is more smart. Okay. So if quit, where Vanguard will go? As you said, people are thinking TSMC just merged into it's a complete story, right? But no, Morris is the chairman of Vanguard. Morris is also the chairman of TSMC. The said the exchange condition may be conflict of interest. So he will not merge Vanguard because this is a political and economical dilemma and conflict, I think. Morris is a very careful guy, okay? So you see Morris merge the 那个宏基的叫什么 Acer's DRAM company into, he has no problem because he can deal and fighting with Stan Shi, right? And get people cannot argue it. But if he argue with himself, either shareholders or who you favor to. I think he's very, very sensitive about this. So Vanguard, if give up DRAM, where to go? You go to, the only way to go is to go to foundry. He doing a low-end foundry, 8-inch foundry, because at that time 12-inch just started. Okay, so I think that is under table decision is TSMC doing 12-inch and go. Vanguard license 8-inch foundry technology from TSMC and doing like a second brand to do the 8-inch foundry. So that's what they do right now. Pretty good, and they are doing good. Their stock market and stock price is good, and they become really good. This mature technology foundry provider. So this is the end of Vanguard.
Right.
But
as you said, it was number 4. So do you personally think that Vanguard could have continued
Yeah, could. You know, this is, I view, this is a kind of a commitment and a will. Because this is the only independent technology company, DRAM company, memory company in Taiwan. Morris can beat, if he like to do that, to beat his reputation to government, to further resource inject. It's just like SK Hynix and Samsung, right? Everybody have just you say, up and down, you have a turbulence, okay? You need to inject. You need this kind of special support. And then later on, you can return it, right? Even the Hynix in Hyundai, the World Bank come in, right? Government can negotiate the World Bank. Well, you finance them with the height of it, but still keep them survive there. They're tough, but they can survive there. But this, I think this, especially doing memory, there's a lot of will, you know, and commitment. And I think this is Japanese, Korea, and I view today China is a very terrible guy, right? This is not like a common IC, because memory is up and down, too big, okay? You see Korea, they have good things. At that time, I see Taiwan, all the DRAM. Most of them is buying technology from other guys, right? But I say only two companies may be finally successful. One, I say, is our Vanguard. We have our own technology. This is good. We have one important factor. Another one, I say, Lanyard. It's a Formosa plastic. Pretty much that's like a Samsung and a Hyundai. They have a conglomerate, right? Can support them. And that's true. The Nanya survive is due to all the Formosa plastic in the most difficult time to inject capital into Nanya. So Nanya right now is Taiwan's largest, although still very small, largest DRAM provider. But the technology is no good. So there is another thing at that time is to be proposed. How about the Vanguard merge with Nanya? Vanguard have technology. Nanya have rich father behind him. Okay, these two become the company. Okay, but TSMC at that time is not large enough. I think you know the history. You observe all the way. Even in the 90s, TSMC cannot support another DRAM. So I sympathize, I agree with Morris's decision. That may draw TSMC down to the drain. Yeah, but conglomerate, like a Samsung, like a Formosa Plastic, like a China Steel Group, have the capability to do that. Yeah.
Okay, so before we move on to Ardentech, I just want to ask, there's somebody else who is called the father of the DRAM, but sounds like you're the guy who brought DRAM to Taiwan.
Right. Maybe I am a guy in Taiwan DRAM I involved the most. Okay, the other people may be doing the big DRAM business, but he doesn't through all this history and experience all this tough and sweet time and exciting things. Okay, I agree with you. So this is a little bit of pity. Okay, and that time actually we work on if Nanya and Vanguard can work together, but sometimes this is not difficult. Not my position can do it. I'm not a board member. I'm not a chairman. This only chairman can do that for shareholders, right? Yeah.
So, okay, so you just wanted to do something completely different. Is that why you chose the wafer
Okay.
testing with Ardent Tech?
Okay.
What's the story behind that?
Okay, let's go to this part. Okay. If Vanguard is not doing that, okay, my mission is complete in that phase. Now, what should I do? Okay, and I am a semiconductor guy. Okay, so at that time, I think a lot of people say, "Hey, see why you come out to start company where you can invest." But those kinds of investment at that time is not enough for a fab company. Already, fab company need a big chunk of money. Okay, this is one thing. And so, I think I should do something, not against my boss, previous employee, Vanguard or TSMC group. Okay, Morris. So I tried to do something support them. So I think about testing, wafer testing. At that time, it's not a really business. Okay. Oh, interesting is several years later, Harvard Business School came to me. They wrote a Harvard Business case study of Ardent Tech, talking about a new business model in Taiwan. Okay, because they are discussing a series of topics. Taiwan is not a vertical integrate like Japan or Korea, right? We are chopped into pieces. Mask company, design company, foundry, wafer company, testing company, packaging company, and this testing. Okay, so I can send you the Harvard Business case. Very, very interesting one. Okay, so I will say I do this to support it because I see the foundry businesses come up very prosperous. Well, okay. So a lot of people become fab light. You see, like a TI, they have a fab, but they also have something doing foundry. Okay, like AMD eventually even give up all the factory into the global foundry, right? So those things are all happens. So in United States, build fab is very few anymore. All the successful company is like a Qualcomm, Broadcom, and they are fabulous, or fab light. So they come to Taiwan, UMC, TSMC to do the wafers. And how they check their result. The common practice at that time is TSMC test for them, UMC test for them. It is not an independent third party. So I think I become an independent third party. You receive the wafer from TSMC, I test it for you, and I provide all the detailed data to you and tell you if there is anything wrong there. Where is the defect? This is pretty much like a physical examination department in hospital. In hospital, right? Although always in a hospital, the physical examination or the nuclear or those kind of therapy is not the leading group. The leading group always in the surgery, right? But this is a very necessary evil. You have to do that in order to keep your quality. And Taiwan needed to be really on the stage, become a really good guy, important guy. We need the quality. Not only just manufacture. So testing is the quality gather. So I think maybe I can create this kind of business. So another good thing is, since Vanguard is become foundry, Vanguard is a full-fledged company before. They have designers. They have manufacturing. They have marketing people. They have sales people. They have testing people. They have everyone, right, doing DRAM. Become foundry, the only safe there is wafer manufacture. All these guys lost job. Although Morris give a pretty good layoff payment, so nobody fighting, so smooth laying. But they all fight good. So I actually have a pretty good, I know my testing group is very good in Vanguard. I took that and solved Vanguard's layoff job. They quit there, join us at the beginning. So I started this Vanguard. Okay. Ardentech. But at that time, because I'm free, I say I quit. Okay. Morris wanted me to go to TSMC as their chief scientist, CTO. He offered me the job back there. But I think I want to do something different. Okay. So I go to Morris. Morris told me, okay, you come to tell me you will do, or you consult me. your career. Oh, I say, certainly, chairman. I certainly, if you can give him a consultation, that's very good. So what you will do? I say I will do this. He said, why you go there? You join me as a CTO and chief scientist. Your power is big enough. Okay, you have enough resources here. Why you will go there? I think I will try to taste the industry. Then he asked me, what you will do? What they give you? You go to do chairman, or you go to president? I say, suppose they will elect me as a chairman. I will be chairman. I said, oh, chairman. Then maybe you should go. He told me, chairman and the president are totally different life. Okay. If you want to try something new, if they give you president, don't go. I give you vice president as the CTO. It's the same as the president. And Morris. Okay. So I later come back to him again. So I'm sure they will let me do the chairman, and I take over all the responsibility over that. The Morris is saying that's different. If you go to chairman, I bless you. Okay, and you will have a tough life. And things like okay, chairman. And then later on, I agree with them. You cannot sleep well. The bank need your signatures. All those kinds of things. So that is the Ardentech being created. We are doing well. I have a pretty good team, and we are doing right now. We may be the number 2 largest testing company in Taiwan.
Okay, CY. So let's just finish up with talking about how you came to Macronics and some of the highlights there.
Sure. Since I left Vanguard, that is also a big news in this circle. Okay, the Taiwan circle. So, and very soon, because before I left Vanguard, people already came to me to want to invest me into the Ardentech. So very soon I left that I have Ardentech being preparation office starting. When this happened, Ming Wu, the president of Macronics, and then the chairman of Macronics, Dr. Tinghua Hu. Tinghua Wu is my old friend since National Chiao Tung University, and he also become a very famous venture capitalist. He invested into the Macronics. He is always the chairman. But actually the founder and then the CEO is Ming Wu. he lead a big team, returned from Silicon Valley to establish this company. He started this in 1990, almost the same year I returned to Yichun. He started here as the Macronics. Okay, so when I left the Vanguard, that's a year of 1999. It's almost 2000, 1999. I remember the summer of 1999, when we almost have a company, the big earth hit Taiwan, 9/21, big earthquake hit. Mingwu and Tinghua came to me to ask me to join Macronics. But I told them, I can't. I already get the money from the investors. The company just formed. I'm the chairman. How can I join you? But they don't give up. They still come in to ask me to join, okay? And then later on, we have something. So I say, I can help, okay? Maybe as a consultant. So I, as a executive consultant, each week I spend 1 day in Macronics. I get a promise from the Ardentech's board. I have a part-time job in here because they say they need me so badly. They want me to lead the technology of the Macronics. Okay, so then things just go like this. Okay, so I become a part-time consultant of Macronics. And this is 1990, okay? 1990. Macronics seems it's going smooth. And everyday fighting is the very first start of the Ardentech. I spent a lot of energy to make the Ardentech get up. But 1991, there is a disaster happen again. Disaster happened again. Macronics have a big loss, a historical loss. Almost the company were bankrupt. There's a loss about 10 billion NT dollar. So they come to me even more severe. Say, see, I come to help. I say, I really have two end burning. Okay, so but I promised them I will do my best. Even I come one day, but I keep my moonlight time, work hard with your technical team. Okay, so I say, so when you can spend more time, I say I will let Ardentech IPO. I can responsible to my investors. They trust me, give me 60 million US dollar to start this company. I will get a real stage for them. But Ardentech is doing well, okay? Up to 2004, we go to IPO. And Macronics is even worse because the big loss and almost down to the drain, cannot get out. So in 2004, I become the COO of Macronics. So I have half time there, and then there, at the very beginning of Ardentech, I am chairman and the president. So I let the president be some other people there. Very good guy. He's also bring the company smoothly. So I spend more time to save Macronics. Okay. So until 2007, Macronics starting to turn over. Okay, starting to turn over. Technology totally rehauled. Okay, the flash memory technology totally rehauled, rehooked. But there is a big shareholder fighting with Power Chip. That's 2006. Big fighting, okay. Power Chip intend to take over Macronics, driven the old team like Ming away, okay. So I fight with Ming Wu, okay. We finally success in the shareholder meetings, okay. Although Power Chip get 2 seats of board into, but we have dominated, and our business turn back, starting turn back, and Chairman Ding Hu quit, so Ming promoted as chairman, and he also asked me to be president. So at 2007, I become president. Okay. Then the time spending is reversed. I am a chairman there. I'm responsible on the strategy and the big solution. And detailed day-to-day operation, the president doing great job there. And I am doing a lot of day-to-day job and for especially technology and the manufacture in this side. And Ming Wu take on the strategy and the sales and the marketing and the legal, okay, legal thing. So this is what happened for this almost 15 years later on, up to now.
Right. Okay. So when are you going to retire?
I don't know.
You worked so hard for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, I work hard, but I kind of enjoy that. I almost work 14 hours a day. When I return to home, off the duty from office, I still continue working, especially nowadays on the computer. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think we've covered everything. If there's anything else that you wanted to mention, please do, but otherwise.
I think although there are a lot also in the development of how to make Ardentech become a top testing company, and the technology and the strategy to make Macronics now as the #1 NOR flash provider in the world. There are some story over there, but we can break and chat more and try to.
The next time.
Yeah. I think that story today, our story is starting from Taiwan's, coupled with closely Taiwan's history.
Yes. No, it's been fascinating, and thank you very much for your insight.